We start with this. The FBI's investigating. Apple's investigating. Why? Because some pretty big-time celebs have had their iCloud accounts hacked, and some nude photos are out there. Alleged nude photos. Some say they're fake, but still, we're talking big-time actresses here. Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, Kirsten Dunst. You got others, Ariana Grande, Victoria Justice, even Olympian Michaela Maroney, among others, again, hacked. And you wonder, okay, what's their reaction to all that? Number one, let's get the reaction of Apple saying this. We take user privacy very seriously and are actively investigating this report. Now let's get to the reaction from some of the actresses. Kirsten Dunst, just with a flat-out thank you iCloud with some emoticons basically that say she's not happy. I'll let you kind of decipher what her message is there. Then this from actress Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Interesting take here. She says, to those of you looking at photos I took with my husband years ago in the privacy of our home, hope you feel great about yourselves. And then she followed with this. Knowing those photos were deleted long ago, I can only imagine the creepy effort that went into this feeling for everyone who got hacked. Interesting. There's her reaction. Then there's reaction to the reaction. People saying, well, if you don't want that out there, stop posing nude. So let's get it back to ground zero on how all this happened to help illuminate us on that is CNN tech correspondent Lori Siegel. So how does this happen? Walk us through that. Whether you have the iPhone or not, how could someone hack their way in?
Well, we don't know for sure, first of all, what happened, but there are a lot of leading theories. Now, one of the leading theories is that essentially up until about a week ago, you could go in and try to reset your password on iCloud as many times as you wanted, and it wouldn't lock you out. So there are a lot of programs that hackers use that generate common passwords. So what one security expert told me was, hey, they probably just went in, tried as many passwords and common passwords, and a lot of people have common passwords, until one clicked. That's one theory. This could also be a phishing scam. This could also be social engineering, where, you know, they find out a little bit about you and they're able to guess passwords. Could be any of those theories, really, Mike. Okay.
So we have an idea, not definite on how it happened, but I think a lot of us, I'm sitting here with my iPhone as well, how do we protect ourselves? What are things we can do to avoid something like this from happening to us?
That, you know, we just keep hearing there are more and more and more hacks. I mean, a couple ways. Two-factor authentication. It's a bit of a pain, but if you sign up for this, let's say you're going into your Gmail account, you'll put in your password, you'll get a text message, they'll give you a code, and then you get in. That's very important. That could have helped in this scenario. Use a passphrase, and a passphrase is different than a password. And think of it as a sentence. If you think about a sentence you would remember, you can use that as a password, and you still have long characters and many characters, so it's actually stronger. And also, disable your photo stream if you don't want your photos to automatically sync to the cloud. That's so important. And I will say this, Mike, you know, what we're actually beginning to learn about is this whole underbelly of the web. Now, I've spoken to a lot of hackers who say, hey, these celeb nudes, they've been out there for a long time and they go for a lot of money on the web. I actually spoke to Michael Gregg. He deals with celebrities who've been hacked. Listen to what he said about those images.
A lot of times these things might be privately traded. Think of them as baseball cards. You've got one, I've got one, and they're traded in these groups, and we may never even hear about it.
One of the scariest things here is many celebrities, there might be nude photos of them on the dark web, and they might be being traded back and forth, and they might not even know, Mike.
Wow. Well, he really laid it out there, and it's sick to think baseball card style. I'm thinking baseball cards, you got a couple of 10-year-old kids trading cards. Not that in a case like this. Wow. It's
pretty unbelievable. And I will say hackers, they do this for a lot of different reasons. One could be for money. Another one could be for the glory, to say, hey, this is almost them showing that trophy that they were able to do this. And it's sick. It's pretty awful. And I think, you know, right now, because we see the scope of this hack, how many big names were affected, we're beginning to understand how bad of a problem this is and could be.
Wow. Hey, last one before we let you go, getting it back to us and keeping ourselves protected, no matter what we have on our iPhones or whatever other knowledge we have stored up. Where do we go wrong with passwords to where they can be easily figured? Where are we going wrong here?
It always comes back to passwords. I say at the end of the day, you got to have a strong password, but what is a strong password, right? I mean, lots of different characters, uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, those make for strong passwords. But I will say, if you think about having a strong password, if you use a passphrase where you just think of a sentence that you would always remember, no one would be able to guess that. You'd be able to remember that. That's important. And I will say also, never have the same password for all your different services, because, you know, you don't want one hack to fit all, right? right? You want to have different passwords in case something happens, and constantly change those passwords and update them, Mike.
Great advice. Because so many people, they just want the one. They want the one password that they can remember for everything, and that's a surefire way to open the door for the evil folks out there. Lori, great stuff. Thanks again for keeping us updated and enlightening us as well.